Let me go back to this video.
Several handwritten pages expressing hostility toward the health insurance industry and wealthy executives. Among the entries, prosecutors said was one from August of 2024 that said, quote, the target is insurance because, quote, it checks every box. And one from October of that year that describes an intent to, quote unquote, whack an insurance company CEO. Now, remember, just this month, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said she had directed prosecutors to seek the death penalty against Mangione, following through on the president's campaign promise to vigorously pursue capital punishment. Remember, at the federal level during the Biden administration, there was a moratorium at the federal level on death penalty cases here. Now, Mangione has not yet been required to enter a plea on the federal charges. Remember, though, he pleaded not guilty to the state indictment. So not entirely sure when the arraignment on the federal charges is going to take place, though. Remember, he is going to be appearing in court tomorrow. Not entirely sure if that's going to be the arraignment on the federal charges. And if it is, we'll just have to wait and see how he pleads there.
So, how he pleads, what does that really matter?
Right.
I mean, of course he's going to plead not guilty. I mean, it's not, this guy's making a big deal out of nothing. But one of the things, the moral issue here, of course, that we as former law enforcement have a problem with is that many people have been supporting Luigi Mangione, and I can show you his defense fund. I'm going to put it up on the screen. His defense fund is nearing $1 million. And here it is up on the screen right now. I don't know if you could see it. On the right-hand side, I'll read it to you because the print is a little bit small. They've raised $932,407. So they're coming up on $1 million. Now, is that disturbing to most people, or most people think, oh, it's perfectly okay because United Healthcare is a shitty company and they've killed people by denying healthcare claims? Look, I don't like our healthcare system in our country either. I believe every American citizen should have healthcare. Even if the government has to pay for it, I believe they should have it. Mike and I were spoiled. We actually have very good healthcare from the police department. And one of the amazing things about it is that we get it for the rest of our life after we retire. That's tremendous. Not everyone
That's right.
is supported that well. And then when you're 65, and I'll have to admit that I've passed that age, you get Medicare. And now you have even the gold standard because you have Medicare, and then as Part B, you still have the police department insurance. So I can't even imagine not having health insurance. I mean, when you need certain drugs and they're paid for because you have health insurance, imagine you need certain drugs and you have no health insurance. What do? People go without them, and what happens to them? They die. And I fully understand that. But you cannot get a gun, go out on the street, stalk the head of United Healthcare CEO, and shoot him in the back dead on the street after you stalked him. That's not okay to do in any shape or form, Mike.
Bill, if you look at the timeline, and I'm just looking at the FBI agent's arrest warrant application from December, and he talks about the entries in that, what they call the manifesto. Luigi Mangione, as far back as August 15th, was planning on shooting someone from a healthcare company. The target is insurance because it checks every box. That's pretty cold-blooded. He was going to kill some executive from any health insurance company. He didn't know which one at the time. He could have been anyone from any healthcare company in America. Around 2 months later, in October, he says it turns out that he's tuned in on Brian Thompson, and he says they're going to have a conference. So from October to December, he's now honing in on Thompson, and he's stalking him, getting as much information as he can on him, and then he shoots him in December. So he was going to shoot someone. He didn't know who, but he was going to kill. And it took 4 months from the time he thought of it and decided about it, and took 2 months to figure out who he was going to do it, and then another 2 months. That is absolutely cold-blooded. This is not a heat of passion thing where maybe Mangione's grandmother or his sister was denied health insurance, and in a rage, he kills a doctor. Something that it would be, okay, well, it's a hot-blooded murder, and there was this overwhelming passion. No, this was ice cold, cold-blooded murder, stalking someone for months. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see how that could, equivocate to be the moral equivalent of, denial of healthcare. Yeah, healthcare needs to be reformed. Maybe it should be to a non-for-profit type of, business rather than a for-profit business. But, we could have those discussions without somebody resorting to absolute cold-blooded murder, shooting someone in the back. That's shameful.
100%. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories. If you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button on the screen. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button. Share us with your friends and your family. The like button helps us because it hits that YouTube algorithm. And if you want to contribute to us financially, we have a Patreon with 4 different levels. We also have a YouTube channel membership with, count them, 5 different levels. And you could become part of the Police Off the Cuff family.